Hi everyone, my name is Abhimanyu Jindal. I worked on the US flight case study. The scenario of this case study is to analyze the data of the domestic flights in the United States. So we need to load the file into a database and create the appropriate modeling for it, as create the fact tables and the dimension tables. The case requirement for this case study is to load the provider data into the PostgreSQL instance, and we need to create the fact table and the appropriate dimension model for it, and also create a final view, which is a join of the fact table and the dimension table, and which will return the columns which is useful for the analysis purpose. My approach is to complete this case studies to first I have created a table named flight raw data with the same structure of the file. I have loaded the provided data file into the above table. Um Let me show you how I have done it. Just like uh, first I have created the structure of this table. I have created with all the fields with varchar as mentioned in the files. I have used all those fields in it, the columns, and given the have given the data types for it, varchar for every column, and I have load the import the file using this import function in it. And after that, after loading it, I identify the columns which is used for the dimension, the fact tables, and then I have identified the data types for each column into it, and then I have identified the primary key column and the duplicate if there is any duplicate records in the data set. Then identify the count of the null values for each column, and identify the garbage values in the records, and use the above table to load the dimension and the fact table, which is a flight raw data is used for to load the my dimension table and my fact tables. My fact tables are fact and flights, and my two-dimensional table is I have created two-dimension tables. One is primary dimension, which is dim flight details, and other is secondary dimension, which is dim underscore airport underscore details. Let me show you the structure of those tables. This is my fact table. In my fact table, I have put my fact ID, which is a unique ID, which is increment, and I have put into a transaction ID, distance group, and departure delay, and the next day arrival in it, as mentioned in the our case study requirement of the fact table. And I have given the accordingly data types for it. And then I have created a flight details table as my dimension table. I have used the transaction ID is my primary key, and flight number, flight details, all the flight details I have mentioned in this table, and I have given the appropriate data types for it according to the data. So these are my dimension table, primary dimension table. This is my secondary dimension table. I have used the origin airport code, origin airport name, origin city name, origin state name, origin state name in it, and I have given the appropriate data types for it. And origin airport code is my primary key. I didn't use the destination airport code here because it will be created duplicate records of it. Because if a flight is going to the origin, it is going to a destination, then again the destination can become to the origin, and well, same data is used. So that's why I put the only the origin here, and which I have used for, to my fetch the data. I will show you it later in my video. So this is my tables, and after that I have let me go back to my PowerPoint presentation. Yep. So these are the data issues which I have faced while doing the analysis in it. So there are a lot of null values in the arrival time and the departure time while calculating the next day arrival. So I didn't drop those records because the count of those records are approximately 30,000, 30K. So I put null for those records as a hard coded, but I think we should have to drop those records. Yeah, we need to ask from the client what we need to do for those records. We need to put the any value they will provide us, but we need to handle those things. But for the now being, I put null for those records to handle that scenario. And there's some garbage values in the tail num column, like at the rate, at the rate. Let me show you in the data file. It is a source file which is provided by client. So like this is a garbage value, so I have replaced with blank those at the rate values. And distance column having the miles with it, so I have replaced the miles into the null and then converted into integer, because then I can use it for the further my calculations for it, create the distance groups on based on it, the calculations. And there's a cancel and divided column having the 6 unique values, f0, 1, true, false. I think it's a boolean field, so we can consider all the 6 values, but it is better to use one value just like true or false. So I've converted these things as well for each of these columns. And next is what I'm going to deliver is a create table script and the insert script, how I have inserted the table data into it, and the view table script. Let me show you now the insert scripts. This is my insert script for the dimension of the airport details table, and in that table I have trimmed the data, which is because my file is a text file, so there are a lot of spaces in it, so I removed the left trails and the right trails from it. And also according to the requirement, I have used from the origin airport name, I have removed the code value from it and only using the name, using the substring and the str or position, string position, column strings for the functions from it. I have loaded the data first into my secondary dimension table, which is a dimension of the airport details table, and then I have loaded the data into the my dimension of the primary dimension table, which is my flight details table. And I've also when I was loading the data from my raw data table into my dimension tables, then I've done the my conversion as well. Just like for transaction ID, I need the integer value, and for flight num integer. So like this, I have handled conversion as well, and as well as I am doing the trim with it, and a replace function also for the tail num, just like I mentioned you earlier, cancel and for the cancel and diverted as well, and for the distance replacing the miles with the spaces and then I converted into integer. So I have handled these kind of things. If there's null values in it, then I remove, put it with the spaces and make it as an integer column for it. So I have loaded the data into my dimension of flight details table as well. So after that, now I have loaded data into my fact table from the raw table according to the requirement. Just like I have used the with bucket function to create the bins based on my distance as the client requirement. And also I have used the case when statement for my departure delay gate 15 minutes using this condition. And for my next day arrival, I have used this condition because there are no lot of null values in it, so I am handling it right now like this way. But as per client said, then we can handle it accordingly according to the client. And after that, I've created the create view script for my using the columns as required: transaction ID, distance group, departure, next day arrival, airline name, origin port code, based on the these kind of joins I have used. So let me show you my final output. It will take few minutes to complete it. So this is will be my final output, and as per the client requirement, so we can I'm sending these file, these all the create scripts, insert scripts, and the my view table script as well with you. So just when it is loading, then I think my is over. uh, Thanks for it. Just give me a minute, let me show you my final output as well, otherwise I'm also going to share with you everything. It is taking a, because there are a lot of data in it, 11 lakh, so it is taking time. uh, okay. So these are the things, it is taking time. So let me tell you here, just like I mentioned you that I will explain about why I didn't use my the destination airport cities in my scanty dimension table of the airport details. So here you can see that when I was going to join it, then I have used the my flight details table, which is my primary dimension table, and my airport details is my secondary dimension table. So I'm joining based on my origin airport code with the C is my airport details table with that table. And also again I was going to join with the departure airport code with my origin airport code. I didn't change the name because it is mentioned in the requirement. There's no need to change the name, so that's why I didn't change the name in it. So little bit it is confusing. So I think I can I explained you now. Oh, now it's my output is also came. So you can see my distance group output like you mentioned, and departure delay, next day arrival, and the airline names without the code, and air origin airport name as it is fetching all the records, taking time. I think it is clear. Airport name without the airport codes in it, and also with the departure airport name without the departure airport codes. So I think I have fulfilled all the requirements in the case study. So thanks.